Greetings, Jedi Knights and Sith Lords, and welcome to the Star Wars Artifact Show. I'm Dominic, and as usual, I'm with my co host, Eric. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. You?
Doing great, doing great.
Good.
We had one heck of a season finale
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes. Good wrap
So,
up.
for those joining us for the very first time, we break down all the Disney Plus show regarding Star Wars. And we're almost done for the Andor show. But in case you're wondering what we'll do next week, we'll talk about Tales of the Jedi that we didn't have the time to talk about a couple of weeks ago. So we'll give you more info on that in the upcoming days. So make sure to like and subscribe as usual, and stay tuned if you don't want to miss anything about that coverage.
So, what's been new with you, Dom?
Well, for once, as you can see next to me, there's absolutely nothing. So that's about what my credit card allowed me to buy this week.
Oh, nice.
But I think you had a cool activity last weekend on your side.
Yeah, I participated for the first time with the 501st Legion in a parade. So it was the Santa Claus parade that we participated in.
Ah,
Um, so first time for me. I had never done any of these before, and I was kind of nervous a little bit. A lot of these pictures here, by the way, were taken by Matt Doheny, and he takes great photos for our garrison in Quebec here. So all these photos are a credit to him. And that's me there in the Scout Trooper from the Mandalorian with a little baby Yoda there on the side. But yeah, first time for me, I was nervous because I wasn't sure of the weather. You never know what's going to happen. On a personal note, when it comes to my costume, I haven't sealed it, so I'm always nervous about the weathering I did
mm-hmm.
on my Scout Trooper. What could have happened? But the benefit for me were the boots that I wear, which are a little bit more, I guess, that more grip to it compared to some of these, the Stormtrooper boots and some
True.
of the other boots. These guys were there's no grip at the bottom, so you're nervous about slipping. In terms of cold, the visibility that can fog up your visor, and that's what happened to me. About
Hmm.
75% of my visor was fogged up. I had an
Shit.
anti-fog, but what happened is I have two lenses inside, and it actually fogged up in between, which was a bit of a pain. But managed to get through. There was thousands and thousands and thousands of kids. There I am now with the baby Yoda over there on the side. Um,
Something tells me Baby Yoda must have been quite popular.
Yeah, so I stopped by the dollar store, got a couple little things to deck myself out, and got a little doggy suit for him. It's like a little doggy scarf and a hat, and I put it on him, and he was decked out. Put some little bells on the bag, and wherever I was walking, he kind of stole the show. Everyone was screaming,
Yeah,
"Baby
not
Yoda!" But
surprised.
kids probably couldn't tell you what was carrying Baby Yoda. They just saw him, but they were happy. So a lot of high fives and fist bumps and whatnot. So it was a really good time. So now we're waiting to see. We're actually planning on maybe the St. Patrick's Parade next. So, but it was crazy. We're with the superheroes and the same kind of group. But yeah, really good time. First time for me. So I really enjoyed my experience for sure. So
Well, those troopers who got their Christmas decoration on, I mean, they kind of look like the life-size version of the Black Series action figures from
yeah,
Hasbro.
true, very true. Yeah, I'm actually looking for the Scout Trooper of that. So if anyone has one, message me. But I haven't seen. I've seen C3PO everywhere, but I haven't seen the Scout Trooper yet. So there's Nick, our friend.
Yeah, Nico Crank, there
Yeah,
he is as
yeah.
Kylo, and
So
we saw our friend Fred Fortin as Palpatine.
yeah, that's actually is a guy named Vincent was his first troop. So that's a good
Wow,
test for him
cool.
to for mobility and everything. When you do your first troop in the 501st, is this when you start tweaking and making changes to your costume. It was his first one, and
Yeah.
walking 2.3 kilometers
Whew.
Actually, funny story is that we got to the end. We were told there was going to be shuttles for us to head back. Because I mean, it's one thing I guess you never think of. You're gonna walk 2.3 kilometers, but
Yeah.
what your stuff's all the way back there, right? So, and you're not walking in a circle. So there was shuttles that were supposed to be there. They weren't there.
Uh-oh.
So a lot of the guys ended up walking back, and we waited just a little bit longer, and the bus showed up right in front of us. So it was kind of sad because we were like in the bus against the door, and we were just like kind of driving by all of our friends walking. But it is what it is. So on that note, we have to get
Patience pays off.
yeah, yeah. So to get before we start, as usual, to let you know, spoiler: if you haven't seen the last episode, make sure you
Press
pause
pause.
this, yeah, and come back to it because you will get spoiled. So, without any further ado, let's move on to the
The
slideshow
breakdown. Yeah.
for this week. So, episode was called Rick's Road,
Mm-hmm.
and it starts with Wilman, Solomon's son, working on some sort of device. We see the arrival of Deidre. I thought the scene actually looked really cool. There was another ship. I don't remember the name of the other ship with like the kind of dual wings like this.
Yeah, the like the cargo shuttle
Yeah, but
is the same one that we see in Rogue One that they
yeah,
there's a shuttle that they steal and they use it to infiltrate Scarif.
I really for some reason I've always liked this ship. I don't know what it is with the ship as far back as the original trilogy. I've always really liked it. It's got a
Yeah.
whenever you see this, and it's also got that nostalgic feel to it. So, and we finally
Yeah,
see
and for a
her.
moment we expect to see Darth Vader coming out of it, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so we finally see the Death Troopers after all this time, and the camera cuts off to Wilman as we see him progressing with his work a couple times. Um, and then we could see that, in the background here, actually, you could see a little bit, but there's some kind of lightning in the background, and you can see that there's a storm that's brewing back there. So I guess, like you said, it's both literally and figuratively that there's a storm coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so we could see there in the storm in the background, there's a little bit of a lightning. It was hard to
Lightning.
catch those cells, but yeah. Um, and Bix, we see, is still in her cell. And Deidre takes a peek through the eyes of the surveillance camera that you see that Bix looks up at one point as well.
Yeah,
She,
she still looks in bad shape.
yeah, she is messed up, and it
Yeah,
doesn't really get much better from now until the last time we see her as well.
yeah,
So she informs Captain Tigo that she will take a walk on the streets with Corv.
yeah. So meanwhile, Zan informs Brasso he spoke with Cassian and that he told him about his mother. Uh, so, and we can see in the background here our friend Lurchi. Well, I don't know if we should say our friend because he's not my friend anymore.
No, not really, not.
He's spying on Brasso and Zan, and we'll talk about him a little bit later. But Dedra and Corv take a take a walk in the streets of Ferrix, disguised as locals. But they did fool Cinta, who is always one step behind them, keeping an eye on them, making sure that everything is under
I
control.
guess confirming that we suspected that she knew that he was, a spy, I
Yeah,
guess, right? So, yeah.
oh, yeah, pretty true. And we cut back to Willman, who continues to work on his little project of his, and then we see Zan grabbing a drink with Nurchi. The latter is trying to extract information from Zan, who doesn't really realize it because he's a little bit drunk, so he doesn't get the little clues that we notice. Uh, and well, we end up realizing that Willman is working on a bomb, and he takes a look at his father's hologram, who must have been hung in the days preceding those events. So
So I guess that's
because
what, yeah, we thought we might see that, or that might actually trigger the whole
the
event, right?
riots,
Yeah.
yeah, but it was the well, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Um, so after that, we cut back to Coruscant, where we see Mon Mothma and her husband leaving a party and having an argument, accusing him of gambling. And they ask Cloris, the driver, for some privacy. He turns it off for a brief moment, but then he reactivates it to spy on the couple. So it's, obviously we get to see a little bit further what happens or why she's doing that, the accusation. But I mean,
Hmm.
anyone, could have probably put two and two together to realize what she's doing at this point is just to, try to, like, she knows obviously he's spying. I mean,
Yeah.
for one, and she probably had her suspicions from the start with any of her drivers, right?
Hmm.
So now with leaking this kind of false information is kind of giving a bit of an explanation or setting it up, I guess for an alibi for any of the missing funds or any of the funny business that's going on. So
Yeah, that would definitely explain why some funds are missing in their accounts. So that woman is very clever. I mean, she got a great idea to frame her husband, who obviously doesn't care anyways about her. So
yeah, and she,
uh,
yeah, I think it's the feelings mutual, right? So
yeah, so why protect him, or so
it's
she
funny though,
throws him under the bus, and
because he's denying it, right? You almost feel bad
yeah,
for him because he's like, what are you talking about? Like, no, like, who are you talking to? Like,
I
I'll
swear
prove
it's
you
true.
wrong. Yeah, it goes, but yeah. So I guess the only time I have any kind of pity for him, but I mean, at one point with all the arrogance and all the stuff you've seen in the past, bah, whatever, right? So,
Yeah,
so we go back on Ferrix where Cinta returns to her place and Vel is waiting for her. And as usual, Cinta's all business. But it's obviously you can see that Val is was expecting a little bit more of a warm welcome when she got there, and probably feeling I guess you could tell in the look in her face she's sad and just I guess disappointed. But I guess they're not on the same wavelength. Right? I mean, Cinta is complete business mission, 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 but
yeah, and
Val,
vengeance as well.
yeah,
She remembers her family being slaughtered by stormtrooper, and there she stands, poor Val, saying, "Hey, nice to see you too."
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think after this scene, she says something, and I think it probably led to a little bit more of like heartwarming moment that we probably didn't see.
Yeah,
Real quick, there's Derpy 501st. Hello there, Misa Darth Derpy. Oh, it's Grogu, yeah. I guess notice that. And then honestly, I know I'm gonna get hate, but I enjoyed Andor more than Mando as a show, and I agree with you,
well,
Derpy. So
you're
you're not
not
gonna
gonna
get too
get
much
some
hate.
hate from
Yeah,
us. Yeah,
yeah. So I think we agree with you on that. We enjoyed it. I'm not sure about. I know James is on there. I don't know if what he thinks, but I mean, I think overall this is a better crafted show. It's not trying to hammer out as many Easter eggs and kind of like what do you call it, fan servicing and stuff like
yeah,
that. And there's obviously a lot of that, but I mean there's a lot more, like we've spoken in the previous episodes, character development. So
yeah.
no hate from us here. We're on the, we agree with you on that one. So
The writers on this show made a heck of a job. I mean,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
so yeah, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about those kind of stuff at the end of the breakdown. Saying because we kind of got spoiled. In 2022. I mean, we got three shows, and maybe we could rank them all in order, the
Yeah,
preference
no,
order.
that'd be
So,
cool. Yeah,
all right.
I'll
So,
make a list. You'll make a list, and then we'll see how much people disagree with with
yeah,
that.
well, mine's gonna be pretty easy.
Yeah,
So, all right. On with the breakdown. So, Cassian is back in town. He stops by his father's brick, and we get a flashback of the two of them. It shows Clem teaching Cassian that objects can still have some values, even with a little bit of rust on it. The lesson applies to the real world, I think. I mean, for example, your toaster breaks. What does 90% of the people do? They pick it up, throw it in the recycling bin or in the garbage, and they go buy a new one. But I don't know, maybe I'm too old about for this, but when I was young, there was people that used to repair stuff like appliances.
Yeah, I
We
guess
didn't
this.
throw them to the garbage. I mean, why can't we do this anymore? Why do we have to fill the the junkyards with stuff that could still be functioning pretty well with a few, but they don't produce the parts anymore. So
Yeah, well, it's so
it's
cheap now, right? You go to the WalMarts of this world, you're like, ah, screw it, I'll go buy another one, $12 or something, right? So,
yeah. So I mean, I think there's a lesson to be learned
yeah,
here.
for sure.
But after the flashback, Cassian goes to Bix's junkyard and discovers that Peglet is watching over the place during Bix's absence. When Cassian asks where she is, we cut to her, freezing in her cell. Poor Bix. We hear the voice of Nemec reading his manifesto, and we then see that it's Cassian who has opened the manifesto, and the excerpt speaks of the struggles necessary to uh, to the achievement of victory. The most important thing to remember, I guess, is at least to try. So I think it's also a good advice and something valuable.
But Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try.
I
So,
know, but when you try and you put your art into it,
yeah,
most of the time you'll succeed, right?
yeah. So back at the
It's like
hotel.
me with my channel. I'm
Yeah,
putting my heart into it, so
yeah. And
hopefully I'll
speaking
succeed.
of, speaking of, good segue. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Only 24 more subs needed now. 24.
Yeah,
That's nothing compared to where we were a couple months ago.
absolutely
To
true.
get to the 1,000, the big 1,000. So like and subscribe if you haven't already. Um, Back onto this at the hotel where the ISB have met up at their office. Deidre is reviewing her plan with her men. We learned that the funeral was supposed to happen at midday, but they pushed it 2 hours. They accepted 40 people instead of 30, and the procession will take place on the Ricks Road. So Deidre indicates that she doesn't want any snipers. She wants Andor and she wants him alive. So I guess she assumes that he's pretty wise and he would spot anything that would be a little funny, I guess, out there.
Hmm.
Um, so at the ISB HQ on Coruscant, we see our old friend Cloris. No, sorry, not
Yeah,
Cloris.
Blevin.
Yeah, Blevin. So
He's
after all
alive.
this, yeah, yeah. So I thought he was probably like sent somewhere to like rot, but yeah, at least he's still alive. And Cloris is reporting the details of the argument between Mothma and Blevin. Mothma and Perrin. So until they're both interrupted by Supervisor Lagret, who tells them that they will miss Krieger. So after all this time of talking about Krieger, I guess we know that they've met their demise now, and we will never see him.
Mhm.
That weird 3D image that we spoke about last week is the extent
It
of
will
what
be
we'll
the only
see.
time.
I guess it explains why it was some weird 3D thing as well. It's because it was probably not even a real person or based off a real person. So I guess that explains that. Excuse me. So um, then Pentagaz has Deidre on comms, and she tells him that they cannot get any info from a dead body.
Yeah,
So
she looked disappointed that they didn't catch him alive.
yeah, but I mean, at
But
this,
Pentagaz had a good counter argument.
yeah, he replies that the operation was about wiping the taste of Aldani from the Emperor's mouth. So he tells Deidre to find access and concentrate on the mission at hand. So
So we cut to Luton, who arrives on Ferrix with his Fondor ship. And then, well, Corv continues to watch Marva's house to see if there's any suspicious activity. Um, and Cassian uses the tunnel under the hotel to sneak in. Those are the tunnels that Marva spoke about a few episodes ago. So it's kind of interesting to see that he followed her advice, or at least he remembered that there was some tunnel under
Yeah.
there to make his entry to the hotel. So uh, and Cassian is helped by Pegla and Brasso. The latter tells Cassian that Marva's final words were for him. She loved him more than anything he could do wrong. I thought it was a pretty nice thing to say for from her, or I could see you saying this to your kids. I love you more than anything you could do wrong. I mean, it's
Yeah, that was a good line. It's just
yeah,
weird that they didn't film that scene, right? Like, I mean, the way she just kind of like went away.
yeah,
Again, it almost felt like when you're watching a series or a movie and then the actor actually passes away and they have to try to find a way to work around it. It felt like one of those things. It was weird.
yeah. Maybe she's not good at acting dead. I
I
don't know.
don't know. I don't know. It's just weird. So, um,
Yeah, yeah, I know. So the conversation switches to Bix and how she can be rescued. Uh, Cassian and Brasso leave each other after agreeing that Cassian would rescue Bix, while Brasso would take care of Marva. And then we see Cyril's arrival on Ferrix, and he uses public transport with Mask. Cyril doesn't look thrilled about his cap, so Mask offers his. I thought it was funny, he was looking at his cap on his knee, and well, you know, not smiling at all, and Mask like, okay, you want my cap? Take my cap. I don't
yeah,
care. So it was a little
yeah,
bit funny.
yeah,
I
yeah.
chuckled a bit.
So then Luthen meets Vel, and they both agree to let the Empire catch Cassian. Let the Empire catch Cassian before making their move to kill him. I guess let them do their own do the dirty work for them. While they talk, the time grappler starts banging on the anvil, and then the marching band starts warming up. So I know you were. We'll get back to these a little bit later, but it was very interesting. I mean, now we're gonna get into some of the scenes where a lot was going on, and it's hard to really
Hmm.
try to break down. But I mean, it was very well done, very well directed, kind of artsy, and like it was. Anyway, I really enjoyed the scenes that were coming up, but you definitely have to watch it.
Hmm.
And then the Imperials, once they start playing the music, they're starting to wonder what's going on. Procession begins much sooner than they had scheduled, which is weird because considering they'd pushed it, but now I guess now they're starting it earlier, and it seems to be destabilizing them.
Well, I
So
think that was the goal.
yeah,
You know, they,
yeah, for sure.
they wanted to catch them off guard for sure.
Yeah, so they start to form a barricade to stop the crowd because I mean the band is getting bigger, the mob is kind of getting bigger. I mean they're still calm at this point, but you could see, like you said, like they're a little shook up the and caught off guard by what's going on. So hidden on the roof, we have Cassian who spots Luthen walking in the streets, and he understands why he's there. He's obviously not there for a warm greeting. Um, and then after that, we go to Nurch. He reaches out for Corbin, tells him he has to double the reward to get him a ship out of there if he wants to know where Cassian is. So going back on his original deal, that's it's never a good sign. And I think that
Hmm.
right after he put him away, right? Like he brought him up to the second floor. I forget what he did with him, but he wasn't too happy with that kind of like renegotiation, I guess, at this point. So
Well, Nurchi told him, act like you're arresting me because he didn't want to be seen
oh yeah,
talking with Imperial from the rest with the
okay,
rest of by the rest of the crowd.
I missed
So
that one.
they like yeah. So they pretended. So that way it was treated pretty decently once they got inside the hotel lobby, I guess.
Okay, okay, yeah,
So our friend Brasso, the big guy as they call him, he gets in front of the procession with Marva's brick in his hands. B2MO is right behind him. Pegala, Wilman, and Zan are ahead of an enormous crowd. That the we it's pretty obvious that they didn't respect the 40 people
Yeah.
for the attendance, but Marva was loved by the entire village. So
Yeah.
how could they expect that no more than 40 people would show up? I mean, so they resume walking toward the hotel, and the music played by the marching band gets more up tempo, almost sounding like a call to arms. You know, at the beginning it was like more of a funeral march,
Yeah.
but now it's like okay, we're going to war now.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
Uh, Corv gets on the roof where Cassian was supposed to be. That was the intel that Nurchi told Corv moments prior to that. But he's gone. Cassian is infiltrating the hotel through the kitchen. So he meets the chef, who obviously knows him, and he points Cassian in the right direction to go help out Bix.
Dicks. Yeah.
Yeah, and the crowd starts to chant "Stone in the Sky" for a little while, and at that moment, B2 projects an hologram of Marva, who delivers a message to the people of Ferrix.
So, real quick, there's Guillaume that just joined. He says, "Hello there."
Hey, Guillaume.
Hello
Yeah,
there.
hello there.
And Star Wars with Percy Man. He says, "I loved watching this show, and so did we, and that's why we
Yeah.
were breaking it down, and we've been doing so for the whole season. It's just been quite enjoyable. We just spoke about that 2 seconds ago as well. Someone had mentioned that they actually liked this more than they liked The Mandalorian. So, what did you think? Star Wars with Percy Man. Let us know. Um,
hmm And Guillaume, too.
yes, for sure. Um, so she mentions that she is proud to be standing before the crowd and that she's honored to be a daughter of Ferrix and to be worthy of the stone. She says she wants to lift the people of Ferrix, not to be remembered, because she wants to be not to be remembered, but because she wants the people to go on. That she fears for them. They've been sleeping like that. That was kind of deep. I mean, again, it's hard to capture that moment, that emotion that's going on at that moment. But like it was another. I don't want to say if this is as Oscar worthy as these other performances, but it was quite a
hmm
speech as well, right? Again, great writing, and there's always a great message behind all these things that we've heard over and over again in these.
We've been spoiled the last few episodes. I mean, with
Yeah,
Kino's speech, then Luton's speech, and now we get Marva's speech. As I said numerous times previously, the show is very well written, and we got another example at that
yeah,
moment.
yeah. The dialogue and the script is just incredible. So it's saying that they've been asleep, and it goes, they've been turning away from the truth they did not want to see. There's a wound in the Wound Hill at the center of the galaxy. Um,
Pretty good
so,
reference to Coruscant and the Emperor and the dark side. I mean, that's the wound that is not healing. I mean, there's Coruscant is the capital of the Empire.
yeah,
The center of the galaxy in some words. So she's referring directly to that.
she says that the darkness reaching like rust into everything around them. She refers to the Empire, who used to be visiting, but now has the intention to stay. The Empire is a disease that thrives in darkness. So now you can see the Emperor. I mean, the Empire is starting, to feel a little bit more uncomfortable than even previously. So, if she could do it again, she would stop sleeping, and she would fight these gentlemen. uh, so on to
And
you.
well, at that moment, Captain Tigo had enough of that, and he takes off his cape and tries to cover B2's auto projector, but he only covers half of it, as we can see on that picture. This leaves enough time for Marva to scream, "Fight the Empire!"
Yeah,
Tigo throws B2 on his side, and the riot starts.
And hold
Brasso
on.
throws a few punches, and then uses Marva's brick to slap a soldier in the face. And we have a little reminder for you because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
called it
Let's go. Let's go
last
ahead and
week.
watch the script,
All right.
the clip there. And Deidre asks what the ceremony would look like, and Tigo answers that the
I hope you
tradition
guys can hear it.
wants the ashes to be mixed
Yeah, you
with
can.
mortar and local stone dust. Then they put your name on it and fire it up. You become a block of Ferrix brick, and then they find you in the wall. So
Would it be ironic if they used that brick to start the riot in the next episode? I mean, boom.
yeah, hey, you
You
can
heard
see
it
she
first
started
from the
it.
Star
Yeah,
Wars Artifact show.
yeah, yeah. Wouldn't it be ironic if you used that brick to start the riot? And wow, hit it right on the head. That was
Yeah.
pretty funny. So yeah, it was good. So
I
Dom
was talking to
requested
my
that
television. When I saw that scene, I was like, I knew it. I knew it.
yeah, yeah. So good call. It was funny. Dom said, "Hey, can you find that clip and put it on?" So I have to actually Google how to put a clip in this and everything, but it was well worth it. So it was a good call for sure.
Before I continue, I want to say hi to our friend Steve from Redevance Studio. Steve came by my place last weekend, and we filmed a room tour for one of my future videos on the YouTube channel. So because you're mostly seeing, the wall where I have all my lightsabers and my Kallax from IKEA, when I have some few artifacts, but there's a lot of stuff that are never shown by my camera when I shoot a review. So I wanted you guys to get a full experience of how my office looks. So I'll take advantage that our friend Steve is on the chat to thank him once more, and you should see that video. That would be the last video before Christmas, so around December 22nd, 23rd, something like that. So
You also there's
don't
a
miss it.
picture on your Facebook as well, I think, right? That you
True.
can get a good look of it, good preview so
Yeah,
far. So
he brought his 360 degrees camera, and so he took a picture of the whole office, and it's
looks
pretty
great.
cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay justice,
So,
even though the picture is great. There's still that live experience is a little different. So, but
mhm.
it's crazy how big the room looks though in that picture when you
Oh
look.
yeah, for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
my room is like 8 feet by 10 feet,
yeah.
something like that, and it looks like I got a penthouse. I mean, actually,
But it's clean. It's super
obviously not true.
clean. There's a lot of stuff in that room, but it is clean. So it's not. It doesn't look cluttered. It doesn't look messy. So credit to that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I tried to make it look interesting for those who stop by my place.
but it's only what $30 to get in and see it. So it's not bad, right? So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. $20 and a subscription on YouTube.
nice. All right.
So the rest of the crowd obviously joins him in the fight. Andor takes advantage of the chaos to find Bix. The time grappler continues to bang on his Beskar anvil. For those who didn't notice, that's Beskar. So
Well, that's what I.
imagine the worth of the
Yeah, well,
of
that's
the
it.
anvil.
I always thought it kind of looked like that, but I mean, like, I guess it's been confirmed now,
Yeah,
or
it's confirmed. Yeah,
okay, because what was that in the subtitles or something that they would wrote that it was a best car?
but they said only said anvil, but it was confirmed in writing.
Oh, really? Damn,
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. But
yeah,
geez,
and the way he bangs on it, it's like it was a war drum.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Huh.
the Imperials seems to be in control of the entire situation until Wilman throws his bomb past enemy lines. The blast kills Nershi. It
Yeah,
also creates a chain reaction when other grenades explode.
yeah. I'm not. I didn't shed a tear for Nurchi on that one. So.
Nope, me neither.
So, feeling like the Empire is losing control, Tigo gives the order to fire at will. So, it's funny because you always, have that joke about the stormtroopers, but they're actually hitting people, so it was
Yeah.
good. So I guess the aim is not that bad, and a little shameless kind of stormtrooper images here. I think the picture stretched out a bit because that bucket looks very wide.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's just the angle of it. Yeah, I'd probably grab mine, but even mine, I can't imagine having that kind of look to it. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
almost like a top view, but
I think the teeth look a little bit funny
yeah, I don't
from
know.
that angle, I guess.
But yeah, we won't stick to that. So then we see Sinto follows Corv in the alley and stabs him. So that's the end of him. So you could see like slowly and slowly some of the characters are going away. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we have Pegala that rescues B2, and then Deidre is hit on the head by a stone and is caught in the middle of the crowd. So and back to that. I mean, when that blast, actually, when he threw the bomb right
Mm-hmm.
away, Cyril like he took off running. Like it's I don't know. He's got a soft spot for Deidre, I guess. But so
Yeah.
anyway, he comes to her rescue, and it's funny the strategy he takes where he's kind of like pretending like he's taking her hostage, but like just so she can follow. He knew that there'd probably be resistance if she saw him in the first place. So what
Well,
they're
he's obviously dressed like a favorite citizen.
yeah.
So
So it's he brings her aside, and another special moment between the two of them. That she's in shock and overwhelmed by the situation, and where she says like, I, I think I think I should be thanking you or something. Like she can't even say it,
yeah,
like I feel like I should be thanking you, and he says, well, no thanks needed. But it's just like it's weird. It's so you wonder what's gonna happen, but like coincidentally, this is the last time we see them in season one. So we'll come back to some of these things, I guess, in the end and our overall
yeah,
opinion of the season. But a trooper reaches to the time grappler only to be kicked down the tower a la 300. This is Sparta,
yeah.
and you could see his chest plate cracked. In my head, if I look at that, I just think, well, that just cost him a couple $100 right there. But he's not gonna have to worry about that since he's completely deceased probably after this. One
The only
thing,
thing that could have made that scene better would have been like the traditional Wilhelm cry or
the
scream.
scream. I think we heard it at one
Yeah.
point though. Like I don't know if it was in this episode, but I think I remember hearing it at one point. So,
Okay.
um,
Maybe they didn't want to overuse it then.
yeah, uh, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that like this was like a legit, you know, death to a stormtrooper. But there was one point. I don't know why they insist on showing someone headbutt stormtroopers, and even if he's going back as Rogue One, hitting a stormtrooper with like a stick in the head. Like, do those helmets do anything? Like, like is there any purpose to the
Yeah,
helmet?
zero
Like,
protection. Yeah, you're so
I
right.
can get the stick to an extent, the impact, but I mean, now again, I'm going, digressing a little bit, but man, the headbutt to the stormtrooper, I'm like, are you serious? Anyway, I thought that was a little bit weird, but it is what it is, right? So then we see Valicinta packing up to get ready to leave, and then Brasso, B2, Jez, and Wilmot are getting ready to leave on a ship gifted by Pegla when Cassian and Bix arrive. Um, and then Bix gets on the ship, but Cassian stays after telling B2 to watch over her. And you can see he's staying behind there. So
We briefly stop on Coruscant, where we see Mon and Perrin introduced later to Davos Cullen's son. So, if you do the math, I mean, they argued about the money. The Empire heard of it, and now there's probably going to be an arranged marriage between the kids that would justify why Davos Cullen gives her money to cover for her husband's gambling debts.
I feel like
So
he looks younger than her. I don't know if it's just me, but
yeah, I would. Yeah, yeah. Somebody with me told me the same thing. He's supposed to be 1 year older. He's supposed to be 14, and her is supposed to be 13. So
Late bloomer, I guess, but I mean, it is starting to. It's like the whole Padme Anakin thing all over again. They like them young. They like the boys young, I guess. So
yeah, cougar later.
yeah.
So we immediately return to Ferrix, where Luton is regaining his ship, but Cassian is waiting for him inside. This time, it's Cassian who gives Luton a choice. During the first arc, Luton gave him multiple choices as of what he wanted to do. He could have been dropped off. He could stay with Tim and make something useful, get on a mission. And now the roles are reversed, and it's Cassian who tells Luton, "Well, you can either kill me or take me in." So I think it's the official moment where Cassian joins the rebellion. So
Yeah.
he becomes a rebel at that point. So we're setting the lines or the guiding lines for next season. So
Yeah.
Luton smiles back at Cassian, and we kind of know what choice he makes.
And this is the
And
last
that's
thing.
the end
Yeah, the last thing we see.
of the episode. Yeah.
Well, allegedly. But yeah, so that's where it ended. Um, Before we move on to any of the what came out after the credits,
Hmm.
um, my overall opinion, I think, of the episode was that it wasn't as, I guess, as big as I thought it was gonna be. I thought the last two episodes I was maybe expecting a little bit more, but I do like it knowing that there's another season coming. If you told me that was the end of Andor, I would be deeply disappointed in the last
Hmm.
two episodes. I find there's, even though that we know there's another season, I think that there was a little bit of loose ends. There were, the way that the last time we see Deidre, the last time we see a lot of the characters just left, I find too open. And I don't even find like it closed. I don't find it felt like the end of a season. I felt like it's just like, how can I compare it? The AMC, how they do their seasons. It's always like they split their seasons in two, and they
Hmm.
have like mid-season finales. I felt like that's what it felt like,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh great, now I gotta wait 6 months to see the other 6 7 episodes. So, but I mean overall, I'm gonna go back to what someone said earlier, and Derpy said that this was better than the Mandalorian overall for me as well. So
Yeah. It feels like we're watching a movie. I mean,
yeah,
it's not the traditional adventure of the day that we have been, accustomed to since the Mandalorian began. I mean, I don't bother that format either, but it doesn't bother me that much. But it's fun to see something different. Not
yeah,
to get always the same meal on your plate.
yeah.
They they serve a very elaborate dish with Andor, and
It's not
it
for
took
everyone.
time to, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So some will absolutely love it, like us. Some will be, a little bit bothered by the lack of, it's not the action-packed
Yeah,
adventure.
the pace is
Yeah.
a little bit slower.
Hmm.
Like you said, I mean, maybe a little bit less action than was expected, but
But you
I
were
mean,
talking about AMC. I mean, when you watch The Walking Dead, for example,
my God,
there are some episodes that when you say, why bother telling us
episodes. There's
that
seasons.
story?
There's
Yeah.
seasons that you're just like, what is this, man? Like, just move on. It's just and like you said, I'm mostly looking forward to binging this season now. That I mean, I've seen probably
Oh, yeah.
every episode at
Hmm.
least twice. I mean, obviously going back and doing the screenshots after watching,
Yeah.
but I want to binge it and get that experience of seeing it as a 7 hour movie or whatever it would come out to, I guess, in the end.
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, so there was a couple of other things, and I mean, feel free to give your opinions as well on what you thought of the season. But there's a couple of other things you wanted to mention that were brought up, I guess, in
Yeah.
this
Well,
episode.
there wasn't too many Easter eggs. I mean, they name dropped Cantobite,
Yeah,
which is the casino planet we see in episode 8, The Last Jedi. So I think it was like a fun drop. I mean,
yeah. If you
it's
want to go
okay.
gamble, go there. Just don't do it here, type thing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So that was pretty interesting to hear. And then, well, the marching band instruments. I thought they did a pretty good job to, to make them look Star Warsy.
yeah.
They pimped them up a little bit, and we can see it's a flute, but they made some cool mods on the instruments, and I
I
kind of
can see this stuff in your room. It looks like the kind of stuff
yeah.
you'd have there for sure. So
Yeah, and something that you probably don't know is that when I was in high school, I was in the harmony. So we went to music festivals and in the province of Quebec. I was playing cymbals, and
nice.
it was pretty cool. It reminded me those days where I had lots of fun, performing and competing with my band. So it was pretty neat. Just when we hear them, warming up, all the sounds that not, not coherent at all, and when they begin, playing, actually playing the real song, it gave me like a little nostalgia from those days. So it was fun.
And
And then another maybe Easter egg. I don't know if you can call that, but we saw Kubaz. That's the same species as we saw in episode 4, the famous Imperial spy called Garidan. So I think we saw another one of this species in episode 1 of the Mandalorian. The guy who calls the taxi with his little flute
oh
at
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
very beginning of it.
yeah.
That's another member of that species. So,
So someone
uh,
brings up if we've seen the after credit scene. So let's go to that. And
all right.
that was a prediction. I don't. I remember bringing it up, and when we were talking about what were they building the whole time, and it looks like we were correct that they're building some kind of like part to put this whole big thing together. And obviously we pan out and we see something that resembles obviously a
So
little bit of
it's
a
kind of
scene from Rogue One. And so the thing is, in Rogue One, we see them put that part in there.
yeah. Well,
So
the dish has completely been assembled.
yeah, so was it you tell me it took them 5 years to put that dish
4 years,
together?
4 years
Four
to
years to
finish it.
finish
Yeah,
that piece?
but
Like,
but one of the reasons is that they lacked uh, manpower because
oh, oh
there
yeah,
were some more insurrections in other prisons,
okay,
and they were delayed. And when we hear Krennic, I think he says something to Galen Herso, speaking of they've been through lots of delays and stuff like that.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons.
I
But
guess, but they could have made it a little. I don't know. I think maybe the Death Star could have made it less complete. It just felt like really. So it took 4 years to finish the little piece that was missing there on top, and
well, I mean
so
that's the visible part, but
yeah,
perhaps inside there's was some more work to do.
there's a lot of
The
gyprock
only
left to do and plastering and.
yeah, shining the floors and
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just felt a little bit like I don't know, like because we really see this whole thing come together, that whole dish part or whatever, like, come in and get completed. But I just put
and they
that
had a
together now,
pandemic
and
of their own, so they didn't have some toilet paper and you know
yeah, there was a pandemic. They couldn't get toilet paper from Costco, and but yeah. So you also, I'm gonna go back here because you wanted to reference another thing that we saw, an observation that you made here. I think it was
yeah,
on the.
well, yeah, the costume designers. I mean, they did one heck of a job on this show. I mean, especially with Ma and her family. Obviously, being more kind of wealthier than the guys on the folks on Ferrix. But I mean, even for the folks of Ferrix, I mean, I thought the costume looked pretty impressive. Obviously, felt good to see Imperial officers, sporting the white ISB coat, and we had never. I don't think we had seen some gray coats. Correct me if I'm wrong, but like the lieutenant of the supervisors,
Well,
like
Deidre,
when Corv is in Coruscant, he has a gray jacket.
then Deidre's her
He
assistant or
draws aid.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I don't
Um,
recall seeing gray jackets before, so
no. Yeah.
it kind of felt new. So that
Uh,
was interesting.
we have Drunk Banana. It says Andor is 5 years before New Hope. So this season was.
Yeah,
Um,
that season was.
this was 5 years before New Hope, and then season two will cover that last 4 years of a gap. So,
Yeah,
you.
there's going to be three episode arcs,
Yeah.
and each arcs will cover a year.
So the Death Star went from a skeletal architecture in Revenge of the Sith to this perfect sphere in 10 years, and then it took 5 years. So anyway, that's kind of like a
Yeah,
little bit what I'm referring to.
yeah, the math
Yeah,
doesn't,
I just think they
completely
could have
add
made
up.
it a little less complete. I agree with that, but we're nitpicking. I mean, we're definitely nitpicking at this
True.
point. But I just think that when you see that dish get put in literally through in the movie of Rogue One, we're saying that it took them 5 years to finish that small little bit. But again, we're not gonna get stuck on that small detail the same way I got stuck on Stormtrooper getting hit in the
But
head
I
with
mean,
the bucket. So
perhaps the kyber crystals that power you know the the Death Star, perhaps it wasn't in place at that moment. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think it was strictly, that dish that need to be completed. So
but who knows? Maybe
uh,
that after credits scene is somewhere. It doesn't. Maybe it's not necessarily right after. Who knows, right? Like, I mean, we
yeah,
can't read too much into it, I guess, and just
and the as yeah, it should look more like the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi. So
yeah.
I kind of agree with him for the exterior look. Absolutely, yeah. But I'm not an imperial engineer, so I cannot completely explain the process of building a Death Star. But
But again, we're
I
nitpicking
mean,
at this point. I think overall, I was
I
really
mean,
happy with
maybe
the season.
they
So
completed the exterior just to pressurize everything, to get the air, and then they finished all the interior after. I mean,
that
I'm trying to find an
there
explanation now.
you don't have to make excuses for them. I mean, maybe IKEA wasn't delivering their chairs, or I don't know what it was. So
True.
they're waiting for their computers, and but overall, I think I enjoyed the series. Again, I'm looking forward to binging the whole season in one shot. I'm definitely gonna watch maybe once, maybe at least twice before the next season, which you're thinking is gonna be when? Is it 2020?
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of it because it won't be in 2023, and I think it will be around the same time we got it this year in 2024.
Yeah, because they just
So
started filming,
end
right?
of uh,
So
end of August,
yeah,
and beginning of September 2024. So it's almost we're gonna have to wait almost 2 years to see what's next for Cassian and his friends.
yeah.
I hope we'll get to see more of Bix and Brasso because I really liked those two characters.
But you know what? We
Uh,
have a bunch of series. Well, bunch. We have a couple series coming up anyway, right? So I mean,
yeah,
they'll
but the
keep us
problem is,
busy.
for 2024 is that if you remember 3 months ago, we got Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, and Andor all in the same week
Yeah,
or in the same 7 days,
yeah.
and that's going to be the same thing in 2024. There's going to be season two for all those shows at the same time. So
Well,
it's
you
going
want
to
to get the
be
fall season right, so maybe it'll start a bit earlier. I don't know, but either way, like I said, we got other stuff coming up, so it'll fill the
yeah.
time. So
The fun part is that we're going to get the Bad Batch in January,
yeah,
and we're going to get in February. We're going to get season three of the Mandalorian.
Ahsoka.
A little bit later, we're going to get Ahsoka. and then we get Visions, season 2, and then we get Skeleton Crew. So we're gonna be spoiled again next year for sure,
Yeah. So
or
what do
as
you
for Star Wars
think?
show.
What do you think we should expect though in season two?
Of the Bad Batch.
No, I mean season two of Andor at this point. What do you
Oh,
think that?
okay. For Andor, well, uh, I mean the first arc. Uh, I think we're gonna see, how things are gonna work out between Dedra and Cyril. I mean, there was a job opening during the season finale with Corv getting killed, so
Yeah.
perhaps Cyril's gonna be Dedra's new lab dog. So I don't think he would mind.
I didn't know you were going with that, but yeah, okay.
And then, well, we're gonna see Cassian taking a more prominent role in the rebellion. I mean, he's gonna become, I think he's a captain when we get to Rogue One. So
Well, we're definitely going to
we're
see
definitely gonna
K2.
see Melshi.
Yeah.
Yeah, K2 is gonna be there at some point.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be in the second or third arc, and we're gonna see Mon Mothma officially resign from the Senate
Yeah.
and becoming the rebel leader that she is. I hope we'll see the Masasi Temple on Gavin 4 and
Yeah.
how they set up their base over there. That would be a cool set to revisit again. So that'd be fun. And well, some people say that B2 Emo is going to become K2SO at some point.
Uh,
So I'm not convinced about it, but it's a possibility, I guess. But
yeah, if I was
that's
a
not the
betting
way I
man, I
would
wouldn't.
I
Yeah, I
would
wouldn't
go.
think so. No.
Yeah.
So, on that note, what do you have lined up for this week? On the what's the this week's video?
Well, tomorrow we spoke a little bit of the Mandalorian previously, so we're gonna review the artillery trooper helmet from the Black Series, the one that is right above my left shoulder. You're right, but my left that we see on the webcam, so the one with the yellow marks. Uh, we only saw it like 10 or 15 seconds on screen, but I hope that we're gonna want to see those kind of type of troopers a little bit more ultimately as the series goes on. So that's tomorrow's review, and then we're planning to speak of Tales of the Jedi next week.
Yeah,
So I have a little bio made for Yaddle. So that's gonna be on the air next Friday. So in a week and a half from now. So
nice. All right, and then after that, you're gonna finish off right before the holiday break with your video, as you were saying with Steve, and
yeah, well, before that, still gonna get two more videos. I spoke of my Battle of the Heroes box set last week.
yes,
I shot it this week. That's why we have the Revenge of the Jedi poster behind me. That's a I still have yet to change that poster. So
nice.
I'm always trying to, I get a little concept going there. When I make a review, I try to put a poster that makes sense with the objects I review. So that's why that poster is hanging behind me. And well, after that, there's like I received a Yoda mini bust. Well, I purchased it. Oh, I just saw an update,
A
a little
live
something.
update.
Yeah, live update.
So yeah, I mean, obviously
You have
before
an
we sign
announcement to
off,
make?
yeah. So probably from one of our viewers, we're now 23 subs away
All
from the
right.
1,000. So thanks to whoever subbed today or in the last
Last
60
hour.
minutes. But
Yeah.
thank you very much. We're only 23 away. So like, subscribe, and share. We're very close to Dom's holiday gift here over here. So
Yeah, that's gonna be the best Christmas gift you guys could give me. Would reach the 1,000 mark, so it would be cool. So as I was saying, next week, if you want to join us, we're going to talk about Tales of the Jedi. We have yet to decide if we're going to split the Ahsoka arc and the Dooku arc in two shows, or if we're going to talk about episode 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6 to avoid breaking the timeline of the show, because all those episodes are happening in that specific chronological order
Yeah.
in the Star Wars timeline. So we'll decide about that in the following days, I guess.
Yeah.
So make sure to tune in next week. Uh, Anything else to add, my friend?
No, that's about it. I think you covered it well, and again, we'll see how we're gonna cover the next week. But thanks to everyone that participated and chatted and viewed the video, our
Mhm.
live stream, and leave it to you, Dom, to wrap us up.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Really, really happy to see all you guys in the chat. And hopefully, we'll see you next week. And until then, may the force be with you always.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.